live right now. All right, how is everyone doing tonight? Yeah, what are you guys talking about? Where are you guys from? Already 114 today, so today seems like there's going to be quite a bit of people. There's no World Series going on, so anymore, so they can. So all of the sports fans are, they're not gonna be split. They're not gonna be watching TV with one and us here. What is everybody else doing? Shannon Williams, welcome to chat. By the way, Shannon, I just realized that sign that you have, that symbol, it's a member. Everybody thank Shannon Williams. He is a member, which means that he is paying. And according to the thing that I set up, is these chats right here, these Monday live chats are for members. But of course, there was no members when I started, so I'm like, well, I'm just gonna make them open to everyone. As of right now, they're open to everyone, but they're really, they're really for them. They're for Shannon, and there's quite a bit of few. I was gonna make a graphic here to show you guys how many are members. And so that everyone can thank them for supporting this chat. This chat is brought to you by people like Shannon. So anyways, I'll do that next time. I didn't have time tonight to do that. So the suspense is killing me. What's going on here? I had to grab a cup of ice cream myself. Michael is on the house ice cream talk. Is this a weekly show? Yeah, so I've been doing it now for about a month. A lot of people always used to complain because I used to just go live just whenever I was like, hey, I got time right now. I feel like going live right now. Boom. But then people are like, no, man, you got to let us know. And so as of like a month ago, I've been going on Monday nights. That's the day that I chose. I don't know why. Just because I don't like football. And no, I don't know. It had nothing to do with football. But I did hear from certain people that were like, hey, Monday night is football night. Our mighty lithium-ion cut leader Jay has arrived. Saludos de Los Angeles. All right. Saludos. Mississippi's here. Baja? Juan Pablo Fisher is in Baja. Island Times is in the house. Welcome, Island Times. Ruben Salazar. Here we go. Another one of the members. Everybody thank Ruben Salazar for making this live chats possible. Homeless dude trying to build a battery for an e-bike. That was given to me. Do you happen to have a used tab welder that you could sell? Well, yeah, that's a thing. I do have one, but it's the only one I have. I use it. Actually, I'm not going to be using it that much. Maybe I will give it away soon. Like members only jackets. There you go. We need to make some jackets, or at least some shirts. Hey, by the way, guys, look at the shirts. Of course, we're talking about, hey, where is it? Man, I need to have these. Hang on. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Does it look like the picture? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Anyways, it used to be an idea in someone's computer, and then it became a reality. Yeah. Oh, and today, by the way, we're talking about using smaller 22 millimeter standoffs so they can be as compact as possible. You have some a little bit of room there. We don't need it. We don't need it. Of course, a lot of you guys are not gonna agree with me, and you're gonna want the gaps for air or whatever. You guys could do whatever you want. ¿Hablas español? Yes, sí, hablo español. How do you become a member? You become a member by. How do you? Oh, you join. I think underneath this video here, there's like a join button. And I think that's for you to join. Yeah, I think so. Or either underneath the chat here. I don't know. Somehow, some of you join in the channel. You become a member of the channel. Let's see. Got my first e-bike running this weekend. There you go. By the way, guys, have you seen that battery that I was doing? Let's talk about this. Here we go. These batteries. So these are starting to pop up everywhere, right? These guys. And I'm like, what are these from? What is going on here? So as it turns out, these are from those scooters that are popping up in every city. And I'm like, how can there be popping, like, how come there be so many of these? Like, who's like taking them? Who's like, you know what I mean? Who's taking them off of the scooters? Like, what's going on? Are they stealing them? Are they? So it turns out, yeah, it's a big giant mess, right? I didn't realize that the major companies were getting behind these. I think Uber's one of them. Who's the other one? You guys will tell me. Like big money is getting into these scooter things, and they're dumping them all over the cities. A lot of cities are having problems. They're like just basically dumping them in like private property. A lot of the times they don't ask permission. They don't ask permission to the city. They don't ask permission to people that own the property. A lot of times, so the property owners, they're like, "What the hell is this? Like, you guys are causing people to come in and into my property, whatever." So they're fighting against a bunch of these people. There's someone that I talked to that he was hired by by a property owner to come and remove them, and he goes on a weekly basis, and he gets something like 100 of these scooters from that property, right? Because he goes, he was gonna just throw them. He was gonna put a big like industrial dumpster and just throw them in there every week, like, and just like throw them away, right? And he's got like, no, don't do that. This is, these have value. Like, I'm sure we can negotiate with, the company, whatever is Lime or whatever. And as it turns out, he said they don't care. Like, they have so much money. These companies right now have so much money, they don't care. They're just, I think their major focus right now is growing to put these guys out. It's so much that this guy is picking up like 100 from a single like source, a single location. They just disappear every week, and these companies go and drop brand new ones in there, and then the next week, boom, they disappear. Boom, they drop them, right? And he's trying to negotiate with them, and he says they're not interested. So right now he's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I got to do something with them. And I'm like, well, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's kind of sketchy. Like, isn't that their property? They can come back after you. And I was like, I don't know, And he was asking me what to do with all the batteries because he's starting to take them apart. He's like, they don't fit anymore. Like, there's so many of them. And if I don't go and grab them, he's like, they're just gonna be thrown. They're gonna put them in an industrial, trash can, and then get rid of them. They're gonna end up in like landfills and stuff. And it's such a weird thing. And by the way, that's not the only guy I talked with. There are a ton of them. I actually talked to people in these companies themselves, like Bird and Lime, and they're calling me and they're like, hey, what do we do with all these batteries? We have pallets of these batteries that we have to fix or whatever, or change them because they're damaged or they don't work or whatever. So there's a bunch of reasons, and there's just a ton of them. Oh, thank you. There's just a ton of these. So then, we're like, I got sent these by someone, and I gotta find out what we can do with them. There's nothing absolutely wrong with these, and there's hundreds of these. And so I was thinking, like, this would make a great e-bike battery, because look at it. It's long. It's 36 volts. I know 36. I know like the high performance e-bikes are like 48 volts, right? But if they're 48 volts, then we're like, screw it. We're not putting them on e-bikes. We're putting them in the wall and making power walls with them, right? But so I think it's a good thing that they're 36, because they can be used for e-bikes. But 36, they can't really be used for power walls as good. That's just challenging, right? And so I made just a little post about these guys a few days ago. I'm probably going to make a video about like making a quick e-bike. First, I have to like, I don't know, ask you guys if any of you guys know about e-bikes. Which one's like the best, cheapest, easiest e-bike conversion parts that I can get? You know what I mean? Like, what's the easiest? I have absolutely know nothing about electric bikes. Skateboards, for example, I can tell you, like, oh, go this route, this is the best, because I already did it, right? But when it comes to e-bikes, I'm like, I don't know the brands, I don't know, like, I know people use sort of like this sort of stuff, but I don't know, it's like you read the comments or whatever, like, and reviews, and it's like, it's a kind of a hit and miss. There's a bunch of them out there. They're like, some are good, some are decent, some are just terrible. They just, junk. So yeah, I have a learning curve there. I have to do a lot of research before I can find out and make that video or whatever. But I have the batteries here, and yeah, there's links. By the way, I have the links to all the batteries that I come across uh, in the kit. I know you guys are probably gonna. There's someone gonna be in within the audience say like, "What? Where are the batteries? What are you talking about?" Here we go. Here's the link. Before you guys ask him, let's see. Let's read what you guys are saying. I'm only gonna go back for a little bit because I know you guys are like, "Oh, Lyft. Lyft is one of the companies that is getting them." So it's Uber, Lyft. Those are big companies, billion. They're like $1 billion companies. You know what I mean? Like, and so that's crazy. Guys who started Boosted started one company. There you go. There's even what really? Well, they know the business. They know how to make mobility vehicles. 3:36 in the morning, watching 2 live streams. Keep up the good work. You're watching 2 live streams at the same time? You're hardcore. I'm offering to make public scooter charging stations. Yeah. What would be the challenge? Let's see. So I guess I could do some experiments to see what this BMS board can do, right? And I can see where the limits are at. Try to push it. It's just so hard. I don't have like wait, can I charge 36 volts? No. Now with my stupid current charger, I can't charge 36 volts. And I can't really even charge it because it's a 10S and my thing only does 6S, even if I get the 8S, right? And I can't do it, I can't split it in 2 because I have, well, actually, you know what? I can. Because I do have access to each one of the, yeah, I guess that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I have 2 of these boards, so I'm going to charge one up and then use that one to charge the other one and see how fast I can push and move that energy. See where I trigger the BMS. That would be interesting because then that will tell you how fast you can potentially charge these little birds or whatever, right? These little scooters. Yeah, it's definitely a thing. Like you don't want to. I know they pay people to like grab them and take them home and charge them, right? But the little 2-amp charger, that takes a long time. It takes all night. What if you can show up in a vehicle, in a van, for example, and then pull up, grab 10 of them, and while you're driving to go get the next one, they're charging in the back, and then you get to the next point where you pick one up and you just dump the other one and then grab it. You could just be going like nonstop everywhere, Yeah, we need to do that. Because that's a thing. Like, there's billions of dollars invested in these little things, and I think they're a good thing. Right? Like, it's a giant mess, I know right now. They're in the news. Everybody think they're like a bad thing, but the only reason they're a bad thing is because they're not, they're in the sidewalks because it's early. People don't know what to do with them. The rules and regulations haven't been like applied to them yet. There's a lot of restructuring on the streets too. They need to be places where if there's going to be thousands or hundreds of these things in the streets, there needs to be a place for them. They can't be in sidewalk because sidewalks for walking. They can't be in the street because people are going to be run over and stuff. So they need like a bike lane, right? So they need to be in the bike lanes. And if there's a lot of cities that don't have bike lanes, they're going to have to start that. Free scooter Powerwall DIY. Why would they install it without proper permission? Billions are being spent. Yeah, billions are being spent. I think once I saw a story where they were saying like, yeah, how about vandalism? How about like stealing them? And they're talking to the like people in these companies, and they're like, yeah, it's nothing. It's like 2% or something. It's like it was extremely low. I mean, even though I talked to a guy that's got like 2,000 of them, somehow it's still too low. It's like it's so early, and there's so many of these things being dumped that somehow in their eyes it's not a big problem yet. They pay $5 to $20 a night per scooter to charge them. Yeah, imagine that if you can do that in an hour instead of having to take them back home and charge them like take all night. What if you're like just doing your rounds, picking them up, but in the time it takes you to get to the next one, that last one that you picked up, it's already charged. Boom. That's a business right there. Then you make $20, $5, $20, whatever. But you can have 2 or 3 of them, right? We make like little things to fast charge them. Hey, that's an idea right there. I need to, I need to talk to some of you guys that are doing that. If you are doing that, send me an email, jack35. I want to know more about how you guys do it. Just details to see what the challenges would be. Because I think that would be a cool thing if we make something. We've got scooters or Norman, okay, but they have GPS on them and people come pick them up and charge them. I'll do the Spanish. Yo voy a hacer un canal en español en algún día, pero ahorita no tengo tiempo para hacerlo en inglés, así que algún día voy a tener tiempo y los recursos necesarios para hacerlo en español. Can you source new Samsung 30Qs like a pallet at a time? Yes. Now I can. Now that I have partners, definitely we are going to, right? We're going to be starting to sell like the 26Fs. Basically all the ones that I tested. The 25Rs, the 35Es, even these guys, the ones that didn't pass, we're getting a source that is not old and, damaged. And of course, also we're selling the OEM brand, the OEM sells from China and stuff. But yeah, definitely 30Qs are in our list of batteries to add there. And so we wanted to start. Yeah, we wanted to. I mean, I think it's going good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's quite a bit of cells that sold, and it's getting the ball rolling and stuff. And now, once we get this thing going, we'll be able to have them stocked and stuff. And then I'll be able to just concentrate on just like making the projects, doing the thing, marketing and stuff. And then they're gonna handle all the logistics stuff and all that stuff that I'm terrible at and I have no business doing. Some cities have banned them. Yeah, some cities have banned, which is dumb because all cities need less cars on the road, but they need people to be, to use more like public transportation and all that stuff. It's just, you can't just ban. That's dumb. That's short-sighted. They're all over LA. Since I'm to Australia, we can use them. Ban e-bikes. Yeah, some cities are banning e-bikes. You believe that? And I think it's tricky. It's early. That's why people just don't like. They make you release them at 4 a.m. Oh, really? So you can't just drop them on before 4 a.m. Come on, there's got to be a way to get around that. Friends of mine in Austin, and they are doing this. I'm asking him for details now. All right, I thought of the van thing. They charge money for the chargers. Well, yeah, but I mean, those chargers are nothing. Like those chargers are like $10 on on Amazon. Like they're literally. I bought one. Yeah, there's nothing. Like it's just a 36-volt battery. Like, I mean, it's gotta fit their little plug. That's it, right? But it's a 3-prong plug. I don't think there's anything. At least as far as I know. I don't know. I guess maybe some models are gonna be different. That's why they banned them. Users use them on sidewalks. What is the best 86 for e-bike in terms of pricing and life cycle? Yeah, that's a hard one to answer, especially since I don't know anything about e-bikes. I've never, but it just depends, right? Depends how big of a battery you're using, how big of a powerful bike you're using. If you're using like a high-performance bike or just a regular bike, right? It's going to be a different cell for you. It's not going to be the same thing. 30Qs are probably going to be the best to do high performance, right? And even maybe not. Maybe it's just middle of the road, I think, performing bikes, because then that's the most powerful battery that's large capacity. And so even if you're using on one that doesn't use all that power, well, that battery is going to be running so much cooler, so much less stress on it. So that means it's going to last longer. You're going to be running it farther down, lower their maximum or their peak performance, right? So then that's how you make things last a long time, is you stay away from the peaks. You stay away from the peak performance, and then they'll break less often and stuff. Can you use lithium battery to charge ultracapacitor battery? Yeah, you should be able to. I love how Denmark redesigned their roads to have bike lanes. You can bike across Denmark if you get tired. If you take a bike home on a train. Yeah, that's what needs to happen here. They ask you to keep them till 4 a.m. What? Why? I guess less chance of them disappearing or something. Most of them are $5. That's not worth it. I mean, who's gonna do it for $5? Do you have no full-scale Powerwall DIY guide? No, it doesn't exist yet. We gotta make one. We're, all of us, this community is gearing for one. If it's not me, it's probably not gonna be me because I suck at writing. I suck at, gathering information and putting it in one page. Like if you see my stuff, my videos, it's all over the place. There's hardly any connection between stuff. That's not my forte, right? So I'm doing a lot of experiments, and hopefully smart people are looking at them, and hopefully they're like putting two and two together and they're writing something. And one day they're going to come to me and say, hey, I've written the book that you should write, and then maybe we can partner up and I can, endorse it and stuff like that. I'm hoping that's going to happen. It's sort of the same thing that happened with cells. It's like, I know that I have a market for cells, for brand new cells. I know that it's going to further push the hobby, to use new cells so that you don't have to spend so much time, breaking down. And so I just needed someone that could get cells from China. And it wasn't me. I don't know anybody in China. I don't speak Chinese. I don't have the money. I don't have what it takes to do that, right? But someone else did. And so they're like, hey, you want to do this thing? And I said, yeah, I want to do it. Of course, I get those guys every day. I get people proposing things to me every day, all day. And most people are just talkers. Most people are just, you never hear from. They're like, okay. I usually throw it back on them. It's like, okay, send me some batteries. Let me test them, and then that's it. They just went, like, at the first hurdle, they're like, that they need to perform a thing. They disappear. I never hear from them. I got 10 guys in China from factories that are like, we can send you batteries. We have the batteries and stuff. I'm like, send me samples. They all go away. It's crazy. Which I'm like, if you can't send me some little samples, how am I supposed to take you seriously, right? And so that's how I'm operating. I think I'm playing on my strengths, right? You realize that you're good at a few things. You're mediocre at most things, and then certain things you're just terrible at. And so, at this point in my life, I know I have a rough idea what those things are. And so I'm like, well, there's some things that I enjoy doing. I'm not particularly the best at it, and then some things that I'm good at, but I don't like doing them. So I'm like, I'm doing both of those at different levels. I'm trying to stay away from all the things that I'm terrible at. And so a lot of those things I'm terrible at. I'm terrible at running a business, running employees. I'm terrible at that. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm staying away from that. I'm doing the things that I am okay, good at, and then the stuff that I enjoy the most. Those two things, right? And eventually I want to shift from the things that I enjoy doing the most, doing 90% of those, and then the things that I'm good at, but I don't enjoy as much, like 10%. You know what I mean? Like, and so, and unfortunately, these making, designing products and stuff, it's a thing that I think I'm okay. I can do it. I have some kind of talent to do that. But I don't enjoy it as much as like creating the videos, right? And so right now I'm doing a lot of this, not so much of the videos. I'm not happy, so I'm shifting. And so that's how it's gonna happen. I think that by the way, that's a long answer for your thing about the battery book or guide or whatever. But that's what's gonna happen eventually. There's gonna be one made, and I might play a role in it. I might, like an active role or an inactive just by someone watching it or whatever. It is gonna happen. Let's see. Disable the scooter GPS. Easy getting batteries for power. By the way, guys, I don't be recommending people to steal those things. You can get in trouble, so don't do that. But if you're like that guy there's gonna be all these and gonna be thrown away, you can step in there. Like, by the way, that guy, I'm like, what's happening? Like, they don't even listen to me. They're like, they're not interested in getting these back. I'm like, how can they not be? There's like 2,000 of these things. Like, there's obviously a lot of money in there. They're like, So all I can tell is that there's so much money being dumped in these companies right now that their focus is not in recovery. You know what I mean? Like right now, their focus is in growing. I heard that it's whoever can get you to download their app and put them in your phone. That's the company that is going to win. Whoever can do that better, right? Because you're not gonna make multiple apps. I guess maybe I would. I don't know. Who's winning, by the way? In my book, I signed up and I paid them $20 because they made me prepaid. I want my money back. I'm gonna figure out how to get my $20 back because when am I gonna be able to use one? I don't know. They're not here. If they were here in town, I'd probably use it or whatever. Jehu, your contact form on Jehu's group live is not working. Not sure if it has been fixed. I was trying to arrange for a pickup. Oh, okay. I'm actually not running that website, right? Of course, I'm having someone else do it, and I know that they tell me that they're getting a lot of emails. I wonder if for some reason yours is just not being answered for a reason, but I don't know. I'll let them know that you said that it's not working. I'll put that over here on my thing so that I can make a note of it. Yeah, if it's not working, then for sure we should fix that so that it can work. Power back sucks. Sorry. Oh, you were gone, Island Times. Good. Let's see. Can't wait for the new portable power or solar generator. Any hints on the build? Yes. I actually have it right here. It's going to be beefy. Beefy. I don't know. How do you say that? It's going to be big. Chunky. But it's going to be roughly 1 kilowatt hours and about 2 kilowatt output. And, yeah, 24 volts. It's going to have little wheels. This one will have thermal management. So it's going to be ducted, and it's going to have fans. And let's see what else. It's going to have all the other things. Like it's going to have a connector for an outside external battery pack. Yeah. Oh, it's gonna have a built-in plug, like a power supply that you can just plug it to the wall and charge it, right? So let's say you want to use it for emergencies, you'll be able to like get that shelf, and then like if it's got a plug, you just plug it in, leave it plugged in, and it's always charged. You don't have to worry about it whenever there's an earthquake or power outage or whatever. You just go pick it up, pull it open, connect stuff to it, and it works. Also, it has a built-in solar charge controllers and so a couple of solar panels that are kind of semi-flexible kind. And then yeah, you should be able to charge it, so you can also take it camping for extended periods of time and charge it over there. And hopefully it's all gonna be way, way, way below what the market, I was trying to do like double performance, half price. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to hit those exact numbers. I think it's gonna be like same performance for half price, kind of thing like that, right? I was trying to we'll see how it works. I haven't done kind of rough numbers I have right now, right? So that's happening soon. It's gonna be a quick build. It's easy, super easy. Any of you guys will be able to make it. Hold on, guys. Let me go get some water because my voice is okay. Be back in a second. Alrighty. Here we go. Look at it go. Hierro. I don't know. Oh my god! Oh, ahora sí. Ya, so how much does this Powerwall cost? Let's do a rundown on the prices of all the components. First, we have the solar charge controller available for $38.99, the bidirectional meter at $29.99, non-interruptible power supply available for $30. The battery modules are $50 each. There's 10 of them, so it's $500 in total. The 32-inch metal box is $59.22. A fuse holder is $682. The battery management system, the long ones are $14 each, and the main unit is like $200, so it comes down to a total of $342. All of these components come to a grand total of $1,008 US. You can find the links for all these parts on the description of this video. I want to thank you for watching. Stay tuned for future videos all having to do with DIY renewable energy. Today I'm gonna all right, we're back. What's happening now? Where has the conversation shifted? Ruben Salazar is in the house. Nelson Pagan, why are you screaming? Who's screaming? Someone is screaming? Look, I'm the only one who screams around here. What did you think? Okay. Yes. What do you think about Javier from Puerto Rico battery configuration and setup? It seems like it's cool. It's a cool design. It needs some work. The thing that worries me is the fact that he doesn't have a way to actually secure those cells. So they seem like they're just being held by pressure from the two sides, which means that if you kind of knock that thing out or whatever, all the cells might just fall off. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's such a secure connection that it's not. But it just from a quick glance at it, it seems like that's a hurdle. The other thing is he hasn't tested, the fuse traces. There's a few things, right? But other than that, I mean, it's a simple system. So yeah, I think it's gonna help a lot of people. It's going to it's priced low. Hopefully he's being smart and he's not selling it too low that he's going to be stuck doing a bunch of work and it's not going to be sustainable and stuff. Yeah, hopefully he's being smart. Let's see. When are you going to do another group buy for batteries, and can you do international shipping? Yeah, so international shipping is available. There's a bunch of countries, most of the world actually. There's a few countries that are not available for some reason, and we don't know why, but that's just the system. I don't know. And I believe it's ongoing. So we closed down for first batch, but then we open it up for next batch, and we're working on the kits. I'm putting a bunch of these kits together. I have the boards and stuff, and I'm working on the video so that we can buy. I was hoping that we were going to be done with them now. There's a little bit of a marketing thing that we have to work on, because the way we had them, they just seem so expensive. It's like they're not expensive. I did the math, right? And so they're not cheap, but they're not expensive. They can't seem expensive. We were having like a picture of like a single board, and then we had like a price for like a big system, right? And it just didn't match. I was like, if it was me, I never ordered that. I'd be like, what? How much do you want for these things? But then you got start adding, like, how many boards are we getting? How many oh, that's a big system. Like, yeah, that price is not bad. But we have to be able to show you that so that we don't scare you. We're gonna be like, what the hell? You guys are crazy. What do you guys want? Like, all the money in the world? So we're still working on that. But the battery pre-sale is ongoing right now. You can order it. Besides, let me see. Do I have a link for that? Well, Jehu's groupbuy.com, right? Let's see, let me write it. Groupbuy.com. Hopefully that's the right thing. Let's see. The chat seems a little tense tonight. What's going on in the chat? Get Jehu attention. He was trying to get my attention. Nelson Pagan was trying to get my attention. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. I just done building a 50,000 milliamp hour USB portable battery pack. What? You mean a 50 amp hour? Yes, a 50 amp hour. Yeah, that's a big one. 50 amp hour. Power jack took my 900 and product came in broken, and they won't return my calls. Know anything about them? Who's Power Jack? No, I don't know who Power Jack is. What did you buy from them? I would like to charge controller like Power Wall DIY and charge at night, and then discharge in the day. Charge at night, okay. So for time off use, I would be good in the summer. So you need a charger. That's what you would need, not a solar charge controller. Yeah, so a regular charger, like from the wall, it's not called a solar charge controller or charge controller. It's just called a charger, right? Solar charge controllers, like that's a price, like that's a name they gave to the solar charge controllers. But a solar charge controller is just a charger that is made to work with solar panels. And there's slight differences, right? Like they have extra technology that the maximum power track thing, that checks, pushes and varies the load that they applied onto the panels, and then they zero out at whatever load that gets the most energy off of the panels, right? So if they they make a change and they see less power out of the panels, then they go back to the previous one where it was most, right? And they just kind of scan, and they're constantly scanning. And so they're zeroing in the one that creates the most, right? So MPPT, that's what that's called. And then the solar charge controllers are another difference is that they vary a lot in the amount of voltage that the input could go. So they have to be pretty they have to be buck. Well, not always. Not always. Sometimes they're always buck or boost, and you have to stay within a range of voltage. But that voltage it's big because solar panels, they vary, especially if you put a bunch of them in series. It'll be you can have fully sun, like a sunny day, and then a cloud rolls by and blocks the sun. You could see 100 volts difference. And so those charge controllers, those chargers are designed to handle that shifting of voltage, of drastic voltage change and stuff. So I sent you an email 8 days ago, but no response. I bought into the group buy, but I'm wondering if I could suggest a pure sine inverter. And then, oh, I see. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I'm not getting those. I will. Yeah, if you email straight to that Jehu's. Yeah, I'm not getting those emails. I'll ask to get those and see if I can get all those emails so that I can answer. But your question is what? If you could suggest a pure sine inverter NPT controller, I will be starting with 1200 watts solar. Oh yeah, I mean you can get. I don't have a specific one that I could recommend you because I don't have. It's I know. Depends, right? We're dealing with a lot of Chinese, the lower, the budget stuff, right? But it just depends. A lot of there's different people, right? Depends who you are. If you just don't want to mess around with this, if you just want to install the system and then walk away and know that it's just gonna work, then you should probably stay with the top brands, right? Magnasign, Schneider, Sunny Boy, even what's that other one? Midnight. Solar or whatever, like those are good brands that are proven, right? And there's a level of price that are attached to all those. If you're like frugal and you're like us, broke, and you're just trying to get the best bang for buck, then yeah, I mean we're dealing with like Chinese stuff and no brand name. I'm using like some Giandel or whatever, like the Amazon brands. That's what I'm like doing a bunch of experiments because I think that's a huge market. Like, right, the people that can't really afford, even though my system that I'm making for these. So if you bought into the cells and eventually you're gonna get the PCBs, like it's almost geared for like the upper markets, right? For people that just like you don't want to be stuck, cleaning cells and little stuff. You just want a battery that works. And I realize there's a ton of you guys because I talk to you every day. We're like working out and coming up with systems for people like you every day. I have that fan time. What is it? Let me see. Which people, they book like I don't have the thing. They booked sessions with me, and I spent half an hour talking to them, and we go over like what's the best way to go about it, what equipment they have access to, and sort of like that, right? So I talked to a lot of you guys. I know that you guys exist, and I know that we have to come up with systems that kind of work for you. What happened to the electric skateboard? Love all your videos. So, yeah, I've been watching a bunch of the other ones. People are using those hoverboard like to make other stuff. There's one guy that make scooter, and I was hoping that I was gonna be able to just cheat and just like figure out how he worked around the 10 mile or it's like 10, 11 mile an hour like limit that those motors have, and he didn't. So I'm like, I still have yet to find anyone that did it, and I haven't been able to figure it out. So it's it's like it's not as good. Like that video is not as good saying like I tried it and I couldn't figure it out, so there it is. It's just a 10 mile an hour board. I want to be able to say I figured it out. It was hard. I tried everything. I've been trying a bunch of things, right? So that's why I'm not making it. I'm kind of not giving up because if I make the video where like it didn't work, then it's likely I'm never gonna make a video where like, oh, by the way, I did make it work. I'll rather stop working on it. So I'm hanging on a little bit longer to see if I can find a way to make those motors spin faster without spending a ton of money. Because I know like the easy way is just to buy some big system, Can't wait to get your batteries. Oh yeah, those should be coming. HP Power was the only one to hit dislike today. Probably, I don't know. There is one dislike. I tell you, I got haters over there, so I'm surprised there's only one, and they're all watching. They're all watching. Hey guys, welcome to the show. What does your BCV setup cost? So, if you buy through, okay, so that's an easy question. Look, if you buy all the parts yourself, here we go. Here's this link where all the links to all the parts are, so you can get them direct. It's about $60 per kilowatt hour. If you buy it from us, it's gonna be more than that. I think it's gonna be like, oh man, what is it? At the low quantities, it's like the most expensive, and I was looking like at $8 per board with all the stuff, right? It comes with like all the connectors, the standoffs, the holders, everything, right? And so it's gonna be about, $8 as opposed to like $5, which costs if you source everything yourself. So it's quite a bit more expensive, but I think it's gonna save you a bunch of time. And eventually, like as it gets more popular, there's gonna be scarcity parts. That's just what's gonna work, I think, because I think we're gonna kind of overwhelm the manufacturers in China, right? We're all buying from like the things, and we're all looking. So I think eventually it's not only, right now it's easy. I'd say like we're not ready with the kits, go click on the link, purchase everything yourself. You'd save all your money. You just have to wait a bunch of time, right? Because everything's coming from China and stuff. If you buy through us, it's gonna be more expensive, but it's hopefully gonna show up, within a few days, and it's all gonna be packaged together. And I think eventually it's gonna be in stock, where like everywhere else you're just gonna be like, they're sold out here. That link is, it's no longer active because that seller run out of stock, and it takes them, a month or whatever to restock that. We're gonna clean them out. Like, I don't know if you guys know, but there are thousands of these boards that are being ordered already and being worked on, being put together. So this is even before I make a video that, a million people watch, for example, right? Once that happens, it's going to be much harder. And so that the hard thing that might seem like expensive right now is going to be a lot more attractive. And the reason is because this system, it's not the cheapest, right? But it is going to be one of the easiest ones to put together. And it's going to be one of the easiest ones to scale up. You'll be able to make a little pack right now to test things out. That same system, you'll be able to just add to it and grow it into a 10, 20, 30 kilowatt hour system, right? And so that's the cool thing about that. If you eventually you're like, I'm going to buy bigger cells, better cells or whatever, because, whatever reason, you get more comfortable using the thing, you get money, you want to invest more in your system stuff, you can use the same gear. Like you can take all these batteries, put them in little boxes that let's say you buy, like 1,000 cells, like way better quality than these Chinese cells that we're selling right now. A year from now, 2 years from now, you'll be able to get those same boxes where you got those, and then put these, the old ones in there, and then you'll be like, here you go. Put them up on eBay and sell them, because those batteries are going to be, even though they're going to be used, they're not going to be like messed up. They're not going to have welds on them. They're not, because you're using the holders and stuff, right? So it's really scalable. Yeah, it's just, there's a lot of benefits to this thing. And, I know that a lot of people, it's going to make it a lot of people are going to be able to build their battery packs with these. So let's see. No, the voltage range is 7S. Operates between the same voltage and inverters. 21. Yeah, so 7A. By the way, I am explaining that right away, right off the top in the video that I'm making for the PCB, and I'm explaining why not 12 quickly in like one sentence, and hopefully with like a graphic. I'm going to show you graphically why 12 volts don't work, but 24 volts works, and then how that works. Yeah. So, because this is going to be geared for people that don't know anything about batteries. This is not for you guys that are already here building batteries, right? This system is mostly, I think that's what people don't understand, it's mostly for people that don't know that they need a battery yet. They're going to know because they're going to watch a video that's going to get 1 million views. And then they're going to be like, what? I can have a battery? How? And then they're going to be like, oh, there's a kit. Oh, it comes with instructions. Oh, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy the little one, play with it, and if I can handle that, then I'm going to like, oh, this is easy, let's make it. So that's who I am building this kit for. It's for all those people, the future people that are, that they're going to realize they need batteries. 3S or 4S voltages don't work. Yeah, they overlap the 12 volts. One is too low, the other one's too big. You can work it, but it's just problematic. Talk about solid state caps, graphenes and glass. I don't know anything about those. They're not here. They're kind of experimental. They're expensive. They're, one day they'll be like regular stuff. Oh, battery mooches in the house. The package has arrived, he says. Charging them now and starting testing tonight. Woo! So we're gonna have independent testing. Battery mooch has nothing to gain from this. He is very active in the community. As I understand, you did a lot of testing for the vaping community, right? He's got equipment. He's got way more equipment than me. He's got proper equipment. He's probably more an expert than me, especially since I'm not really an expert. And so he'll be able to give us his opinion, hopefully unbiased opinion about those battery cells, how they're going to perform, and I don't know. Just so that you can, because I can't tell you guys to trust me, like I got, I now I'm partnered with the thing, so I'm not. I can't be completely unbiased. I mean, I can tell you that, but I can't because now I have some monetary gains, right? Like I'm trying to make a living doing this, and then here's an opportunity, and so I'm selling you batteries. You can't believe me, right? Like take everything I say with a grain of salt. That's the smart thing to do, and listen to other people that are doing it, and then their experience and stuff, and hopefully, I'm gonna make it easy for you guys to like just be able to have access to that. And he's not the only one that I'm sending batteries to. I send them to a couple other guys actually. Joe Williams, I sent him some batteries. He said he would test them. Who's the other guy? Oh, Justin. Justin, the guy that did our boards. The guy that did the layout for our boards. Yeah, he definitely. He's a cool guy. He's actually working on a cycle tester, and he's got some cells that he's got like I don't know 100. How much? How many cycles? I don't remember how many cycles he's got on some of the batteries that he's testing, but he said he would just throw them in there and those cycles, and then there's it's like a little cycler like this. You can put 2 batteries, and it reports and it sends all the info to like some server online, and you'll be able to see it through a browser. You can totally see what's going on. Hopefully, he'll share that with us. And we could all just like go and check it out. Like one of these days, one of these weeks, we'll just be like, oh, and by the way, the first, 50 cycles are in. Let's go look at the data. Here's the link. Hopefully we can log into some webpage or whatever and see how they're doing, And eventually, a year from now, be like, oh, remember those batteries that we all bought a year ago? Okay, boom, here's the data now with like a few hundred cycles or, 1,000 cycles. I don't know, whatever, however long they're going to go. So let's see. Another good question. If using a 2300 inverter, would it be necessary to up to 7S from a 4S, or is it just depending on whatever inverter? Yeah, it's depending on whatever inverter you're using. The power output has nothing to do with the voltage. You need to look at the voltage that the system's designed to run, right? And it's mostly lead acid battery systems, right? 12, 24, 36. Well, not so many 36, but 48. So those 3, right? But we're ruling out 12 volts for now. There might be some. Actually, there is going to be some lithium iron phosphate cells that are coming up soon. I think they should be. He said a week, 2-3 weeks ago or something, that they were a week away. And so once we get those, yeah, we'll be able to show you. I mean, it's so easy to do it. Just put 4 of those in series, and then you can run 12 volt stuff, right? And so, but for our, lithium cobalt oxide chemistries, the 3.7 volt chemistries, yeah, 24 and 48, that's what we're stuck with. So, yeah, you have to find out what your inverter is, Matt, and then build a battery to work it out. Let's show this one here. Have you considered smaller and cheaper battery holders for your Powerwall PCB? And he's got a link. Yes, I actually have. Let's check it out. Here is a board that was designed by a member of our community there, and it uses those holders. I haven't done the testing to see how well they do electrically, but mechanically, those are scary. Like, look at how close they are, and when you install when you install the cells, they even get closer. And that's the positive on one battery, that's the positive of the next battery. Right there is a short. I mean, and they're like super close together, right? And there's just everything's exposed. So there are a ton of problems that I see with this. Like this is, yeah, these are a little too scary for me. I think these are great for like a single cell or something. Yeah, when you remove the cell, it like opens it up. If you were to remove 2 cells at the same time, definitely a short. And so that's the reason why I'm like, yeah. So I built a couple of these. I have a whole bag that I bought from China. I'll build like a little section, and then I'll put it through the test. Did this guy do the thing? Another thing that I noticed is that this guy didn't, yeah, he didn't. Or did he? Okay, that's that one. Oh yeah, positive and negative. So these two are positive and these two are negative. He said these had like a problem. Maybe they do. I'll have to look at it. I have to pay attention because he said these have a problem. And I thought, well, I populated them and the batteries didn't get hot and I didn't short it out or whatever. But I think it's because it doesn't have the main fuse. I think if I install a fuse, I think it'll short out. Let's see. Battery Mooch, vaping and RC communities. And by the way, you are in New York City, right? That's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to visit next time I go to New York City. How many of the 38 120s did you get, and what capacities did you get on them? How many were over 90%? I don't remember. I didn't even test them to tell you. I mean, I tested the first batch that I got and I made a video about it, right? So if you are interested, go to the video. I did that like, I don't know, a few months back. But this last batch that I bought, I didn't test them. All I did was charge them. And then I put them in that rig and then I melted a wrench. So I don't know what condition those cells are. I guess I can take them apart and then test them or whatever. But as of right now, I didn't do it. How much will a person save building a bank like Tesla Model S, 24 volts, 250 amp hour, 5.3 kilowatt? Well, let's see. It just depends. Like, so I think that's about $300, right? It's like the Model S battery modules right now are about $300 a kilowatt hour, or close to $300, right? So let's see. Let's say that you were to get, well, let's do it with our Chinese cells, right? So yeah, it's about the same price because our Chinese cells are about $250 a kilowatt hour. Plus my system, if you get it yourself, if you source out all the parts yourself, it's like about $60. Actually, no. It's like $60 per kilowatt hour. So 5 kilowatts. So you got to do 60 by 5. Is that what it is? Calculator time. Yeah, you actually can beat it. It's actually way more. $60 times 5. That's an extra $300. So then, what are we saying? Plus 250. Yeah, plus 250. Wow. Yeah, so it's like 550. Wow, that's expensive. So yeah, at those like low levels, yeah, you can't compete with the Tesla Powerwall, with the Tesla modules. The Tesla modules are the way to go. Of course, you're stuck with 6S, which doesn't work that great with a lot of the inverters out there. So you'll have to like somehow add like an extra. Which, by the way, I've been meaning to make a video. I have 2 of those, and I thought maybe what I would need to do. I know like EV West has a bunch of these batteries. So these are Tesla cells, right? So these are the cells that are on those modules. So all we would have to do is we would have to make a module in parallel that is 74 cells. And then that will be your 7 cell. So your 7S. And then you just put it at the end of that thing. And then you'd have a 7S, you know. You have more than, and then that way you can use a 24 volt inverter. There's a couple people that are like using custom made inverters made to run on 6S or 12S or whatever. But you'd have to order a custom made inverter for that. That's gonna run you whatever you save. that you're gonna spend it there. Let's see here. Graphite is not available until next year, mid next year. Oh, there we go. Battery much graphite is in every cell now. Yeah, you mean graphite, the material? That's what the anode is made out of, right? Don't know if you answered it. Saw your intermission Powerwall video. I have a question. Why use a UPS internals when you can use an inverter? One of the UPS have more loss than a proper inverter. Yes, but that inverter was about almost a kilowatt output, and you can get it for like $30 because there's surplus of them that are perfectly good, but nobody needs them, so there's a warehouse full of them. So it was basically just financial things, like what can you get the cheapest, it's like, oh, $30 for a 980 watt power supply that works on 36 volt batteries, then that's what I use for that. So yeah, that was basically because of that. I'm looking how to like find projects for all these stuff that there's warehouse full of them, and they're gonna end up at the landfill, or they're gonna end up being recycled, even though they're perfectly good. Someone could use them, and it was a great fit for like the Puerto Rico situation, right, where we can send them over there and people could use them, and it was like a couple $100 worth of stuff that would otherwise, if you use proper inverters and batteries and stuff, it would be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, right? So it worked for that. There's a lot of people in Puerto Rico that had power during the time that didn't have because of those things. HMUG TV, thank you for the $1. Very appreciated. What kind of battery charge do you use in your Powerwall? So I have a couple of them. I have a solar charge controller, so I charge with my solar panels, but I also have my solar panels going on grid tie inverters right now. I'm doing a test. I wanted to see how much power this month. Actually, more than a month. Almost a year. But this month I put individual like meters to check just how much my little system's making. And by the way, my system's not proper. It's like facing the wrong direction. It's using the wrong kinds of panels. They're all in parallel instead of using, like I'm using the cheap inverters, the cheap everything. And it's about $1,500 worth of equipment. But I think after this month, even though the winds came and I had a couple panels in the roof that like I never like secured, I just laid them up there, and then this month we had like 2 days that it was windy, and then those panels just blew out and they ended up in my backyard, and I'd never put it back on. So had I put them back on, so it's basically like my energy was like one way, and then like halfway through the month is like it dipped a little bit because there's 2 panels missing, right? But I think at the end of this month I'm gonna be close to about 100 kilowatt hours that my little system made, and if you look at the time that energy is being produced, is worth about 50 cents a kilowatt hour. So at the end of the year, you're like, oh, it's like $600. Because in the summer you get way more. It's like, and then during the winter, are we in winter? No, we're in fall right now, right? And then the winter's less, but it's going to average out about $600 a year, which means that my return on investment on that little system is going to be about 2.25 years, something like that. Wait, 2 years? Yeah, 2 years. If they were facing the right way, if they're facing south, it might be like 1.5 years or something like that, right? So it's interesting because you hear all these numbers and stuff, but like to actually see it, to put a little system out there and know how much you spent, and then see how much energy you made and how much that energy is worth, you're like, hey, this actually works, man. Yes, so Battery Mooch is in Manhattan. We'll definitely have to meet. Can't show you the testing stations. Yeah, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see the proper equipment. Let's see, South Africa, would the system work in a DIY EV motorcycle? I wonder which system you're talking about. The PCB? No. I don't know how it would I don't know how well it would deal with vibrations. Automotive battery or environments are very harsh mechanically on stuff, and I don't know what these little holders might rattle all the batteries out of the holders. You know what I mean? Like that'd be the end of your battery. I got the 38 120s after that first video, and I have been having pretty poor results. Like 50% are coming up under 90% capacity. Was asking to see if I just had a bad luck or something else. Oh wow. How are you testing that capacity? They're, you know, because they're used cells, and so yeah, it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be kind of hit and miss. But I mean, you know, Tom says that all the ones that he tests, like they come out around, right? Is that what they're like? He promotes that it's like 90% or 95% or something. Yeah. If you hear Jehu, or you recommend me to buy 18650 in China, I can recommend. Like I don't know the source, right? So I'm dealing with a partner, and he has his contacts in China, and he's bringing the batteries, and so I'm testing the batteries. So I'm saying like, yeah, these are good batteries. Like whoever you got these from, like get more, you know, and we can sell these. These are like legit cells. So I have all these cells that I've tested here, and then like I've requested cells, right? Like, and so I don't really know. Like I don't know in China. I'm in contact with like I say, like about 10 of these guys that work in factories or they do batteries, but none of them have actually come through. No, none of them have actually sent me samples that I can test and you know, see if they're legit batteries or whatever. So I'm like, whatever. They're just talkers. Oh, for your generator project, how much did you pay for the small GPS batteries? So I think they were like $60 for like 100. I don't. It's been so long, I don't remember. But if you look in the video, I say it. Like I break down all the prices. So yeah, just watch the video at the end, like either there or in the bottom. I have all the prices of those batteries. By the way, so those, maybe I erased that battery link, and so maybe that info, because they were no longer available. And then I was looking for someone that found them in China, and I was going to link them, but then I lost it, and I can't never find it. I've looked for it several times, and I can't find it, you know what? Okay, let's see here. I got a question on your mountain board. What were your amp draw and your efficiency? What was my amp draw? It's been, I did test it. I put a battery. I put a camera on the battery meter, so you should be able to see. Did that make the video? I don't know if that actually made the video, but I do have the it's been a long time, so I don't remember like exact numbers, but I think it was like 40 amps or something, just like peaks, or you know what I mean, like just when you press it for the first time, it's just 40, and then it comes down like, you know, rapidly. Let's see. On the PCB, can the trace fuses be repaired? If so, how would you do it? So on all the versions before, you couldn't, right? It's like kind of hard because there's no room there, especially the new one that's got the thing there, right? So like this one I built it kind of backwards. Originally I was building them with the boards over here or the holders over here, but this one I did it this way because then you can visually see it. And you know, this version right here, you can totally see if they're blown. But if they're blown, yeah, it just doesn't work. Like, you can't replace them. So Justin said that in the new version, which I have ordered samples, there is a change where you can fix them now. Like you can put like a jumper or something. So I haven't seen it yet. I didn't even look at the drawing. I just said, oh, this is a new one. Okay, so I'll order more. And I order a batch. And they'll be here hopefully soon, within a few days. The next 4 or 5 days, they're going to be here. So I'll do that. I'll show you guys that new change that we put in there. We also fix another... There's a slight problem with the last batch. But of course, it's a non-critical problem because it's for a thing that we're not using yet. It's for a thing that he designed for a future thing that we might use one day. So whoever got, like all the ones that I got had that error, but I'm like, who cares? You know, we're not using that anyways. So if you got those, I don't, you shouldn't worry about it. But the next revision is that's gonna be fixed, and you're also gonna be able to change the trace fuses, or so I heard. I haven't looked at the drawing, so I'll have to look at it. I guess I'll just wait till he get here and see what he did. I wanted to use an old laptop battery BMS, but I never able to turn on the charging. The BMS turns on normally and gives the battery pack voltage. How much voltage do I need to turn the charge on? Yeah, I don't know. You're on your own in that one. That's like every single one of those is like different. And yeah, who knows which ones you're using. I'm the one from Facebook group testing the 38120s with that CVA battery tester. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, you're the one testing that one. Oh, okay. So are you the one that is getting really bad results with your cells? Is that who I was talking to earlier? I didn't pay attention if it was your name. Oh, I see. Yeah, and I asked you what you were using to test. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think so. The way Tom gets them, it's like this big Gaylord. They call them Gaylords. It's like a pallet with like a big, cardboard around, and they just, there's like, I don't know, a few thousand of those cells. I don't know what his testing procedure is. I think he like grabs a few of them, and then he tests them, and then he like, and then he grabs another batch, and then he tests a few in that batch, and so batch testing, right? So he grabs a bundle, and then he tests them. So I don't think he tests every single one of them. I don't think he would be able to do it, right? Because especially with those, they're large batteries. They're like 8 amp hours. So it would take a long time, and it would need hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dischargers. And I mean he has them, but he's just, it's just the cells would be too expensive, right? So yeah, I think he's gonna probably have to manage expectation a little bit better because they are used cells, right? So I know that people are like, hey, this one's a little rusty and stuff, and I'm like, oh, why are you guys complaining? They're used cells. Like, they're not new cells, they're used cells. And so that I see a lot of problem with used cells. Like, yeah, there's a ton of problems. Like, there's all the time that it takes to process them, which then at the end you're like, well, then that adds to the price, right? So then you're paying like so close to like new battery prices for used batteries, right? Because you have to pay some guy to break it open, clean it up, test it and stuff. And so then it's too expensive, for a used cell. Or if you don't, then you can't guarantee the product. You're just like, well, most of it is 90%, and I'm sure that is the case, right? Like, you're one guy, but there's been thousands of these that have been sold, right? And so, yeah, a lot of them are not testing. A lot of them are just putting them in things and then like they're using them. But I think there's probably a fair amount of people that are like testing them and they're like coming up. Right, and I think we heard from a few people, right, that in your post that were like, "Hey, mine all came up like 110%, or half of them or something." So, I think it's just they're all over the place, right? And I think maybe you just got unlucky, and got a bad batch. You just got too many of those that were not used. And yeah, I mean, mine. One of them was definitely damaged. The last one that I used here. That was the one that was dead, that ended up to being dead because I shorted it for, I guess I remember it was like 20 seconds, but I think it was more than that. And I shorted with like a big beefy like cable, right? So there was no resistance in that cable. That was like a true short there, right? And it put out about 380 amps for about 20 seconds, and then after that, the cell didn't like it. It never really recovered. So that was that cell that was kind of dead. Then all the other ones, I don't know, because I don't really know how many amps that wrench was able to load those cells with, right? I know it was more than 400, but 400 is not a lot when you have 12 cells or 11 cells. So I don't know what the condition of those are. I know the voltage didn't seem like it sagged a lot, so I think they're probably good. So I might be able to check those and get a real sense of what the condition they are. You know what I mean? Like, it's probably, they're not, I didn't like damage them maybe too much by doing that melting test. Hi Jay, can you make a video on how to make a solar panel? So I actually bought some parts to make that once, and I was like, screw this. So the the regular solar panels are made with these like crystal wafers. They're not crystal. They're like whatever. They're that things, right? They're like they're super brittle. I mean, you look at them wrong and they crack, then they break. So, I got some and I was gonna try them and stuff, and I'm like, oh, you put them in glass and a thing, and then I was like in no time they were just like just pieces. Everything was just, and I'm like, there is no way. Like you need a process, like a crazy process to do this. Like I was like, this is not for me. So I really quickly gave up. But then I found these. And these are similar to what I have on the roof, which is like some weird, panel that has a aluminum base. And so you can bend it, right? And so it's not as efficient as the regular monocrystalline, the wafer ones, the ones that are like. But this one, it's kind of indestructible. I mean, I don't know. I'm probably destroying it by touching it, right? I'm probably killing half of the efficiency through here. But anyways, there are like a ton of these from that same company. They're selling them by the thousands and like little things, right? And the way you put them together is like the bottom side is like the positive and the top side is the negative. So all you have to do is like put solder there and then like put it in here and you just heat it up. I think you just heat it up from the back, which by the way it sounds a lot easier than none, I think, because it's aluminum, so to heat this big sheet it probably takes a lot of heat. But I was like, oh, this probably I can do it. And I've had it here for a long time, and I thought, I'm gonna make a video one day about this. But there's always something that's more interesting and more exciting, and solar panels are so cheap now that I'm like, do I really want to encourage people to make their own solar panels? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, is it worth it? Tony says, where can I get the PCB? All right, another chance for me to share my link. There we go. That's the PCB project. Mike F is saying good night. He's taking off. Good night. Thomas Pusack, Pimp of the Year. Thanks for dropping knowledge. Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate that. I need to make a power wall for my dad's off-grid cabin. There you go. Do it. FYI, Jehu, Tom's looking at selling my 18650 battery building systems hopefully next year. Wait, what are you talking about? FYI, Tom's looking at selling my 18650 battery building system hopefully next year. Oh, that's cool. I'm not aware of which one. You're Shannon. You're the one that posted the one for the. No, are you the one that posted that 3D one that is like looks like it's kind of melted or whatever, and it had like a. Did it have like a relay, like a solid state relay or something? Was that you? I have trouble keeping up with like who's making who because you guys all just look the same to me. You're just like a screen name. And Battery Mooch says that he will stress them hard at 8 amps. By the way, in the video I said that those are legit like 10 amp batteries because they they get to like 80, at least on mine testing, they got to like 80 degrees, I think, at 10 amps, which are similar to some of these other power cells that add maximum power output, rated maximum power output. They're around 80 degrees, right? So I'm like, well, if it's okay for them, I'm like, it's okay for me. But of course, it's different. Yeah, some people have mentioned that I haven't done the destructive test. Like, for example, a lot of these cells, like the 25Rs, for example, I pushed them to like 120, 110 degrees Celsius. That's hot. And, they didn't vent. And the CID didn't trigger. Right? And when you read the spec sheet, like, you're like, oh, they're not supposed to. They did all these tests and they're guaranteeing that you can keep them at these temperatures for like an hour, right? And they're not supposed to vent. They're not supposed to do this. So there's a lot of these destructive tests that they do with them. And with these batteries, we don't have that, right? So I have the spec sheets, but it doesn't have any of those tests in there. And a lot of it's in Chinese, so maybe it's in there, but I doubt it because it's almost like Chinese and then English. So then you read the English part, you're like, well, I know what that Chinese paragraph says, right? And it seems to be missing from there. So, but it's definitely not the same with like other cells, right? Because remember this one right here, this is the one that I killed at 15 amps. I loaded this cell at 15 amps, and it's obviously, this is a Light Ocala, and is LGB or HG2. So this is supposed to be a 20 amp cell, but because it's fake, obviously it doesn't. But I killed it at 15 amps. I loaded it in 15 amps, and then it didn't vent. It's just the CID triggered, I think. It was like it's a loud, click. Can you see it? No, you can't see it. And it's an open circuit now. So this battery's dead. I killed it on camera. And so at least now we know that maybe it's not dangerous. Maybe that's what they do if you overload your cells, right? Maybe that's like a 5 amp cell and I load it up to 15, and then that's what it's gonna do. So this is supposed to be a 7.5 amp cell. What happens if you load it up to 15? Will it, what happens if you take it to like 100 degrees Celsius? Does it, does it vent? Does it, do all that stuff? So those are the things that we have to do. And then the other thing is, like, I want to do some destructive tests too. Like, what happens if you puncture it, I mean, I don't know. It might just blow up. Like, it might just spew, like, flames and stuff. But, I mean, it's supposed to do that. Do the quality, 25Rs do the same. Do the 26Fs. Do the, 35Es do the same. I don't know. I mean, I have to have kind of like a control, right? All I can do is compare them to like the good stuff and see what they do. Let's see. Silicon. That's what I was looking. That was the word that I was looking at. Silicon. Okay, here we go. Oh my God. Um, didn't take a proper temp reading of them when charging, but the ones that tested Paltry 6 amp hours got noticeably warm to the touch. I think and I wonder which fluid cells you're talking about. Would it be more efficient to use the DIY solar than the glass or flexible one? Would it be more efficient to use the DIY solar? Well, which ones? You mean these ones that I have here? These are not very efficient. I think those are like 2.6 watts per one of these little things, which is the same ones. The same silicon wafers, I think, are like 5 amps or 6 watts or something at this size, this area. So these are like half efficient as the modern, monocrystalline wafers ones, right? So yeah, definitely not. I mean, I don't know. Depends, right? Depends what you're trying to do. Jay Garcia, I agree about ADC would be a typical temp for running at their true rating. So yeah, that's why I said, this. By the way, I'll share the spec sheet with you so you can like look at it. Yeah, they're rated about 7.8 amps, and that's the reason why I tested them at 7.8 once I found out. But before that, I was like, these are 10 amp cells. They're like around 80, and they just stay there at 80. So I'm like, 10 amp cells. I've tested a little bit over 250 of Tom's 38120 headways. Something like 40 are bad, and 220 cell is my capacity chart is 7296. Rest are above that. Oh, there we go. There's some there's some data here. He's got a large amount of them, and he's been testing them. So what do you say? Okay, so Shannon, what would you say is the percentage that actually meet the new, right, 8 amp hours, right? Because they're rated 8 amp hours. What percentage of those 250 meet that? And then, what percentage of those are below that? What would you say? You have the numbers. I have no issue with Tom's headways. 250 plus are from 3 different batches of cell from Tom. First batch was in January. All right, so you're actually getting a bunch of those. Will you put your boards on Amazon? I am tempted because they are great at selling, and they are great at fulfilling, right? But the problem is that if you want the full, so I used to sell a lot of this, equipment through them, the Jack 35 stuff. The problem was that it was about 30% markup, right? That was their fee. So I had to mark up everything like 30% to be able to sell it there. And then that was great. If you have the margins and at 30%, it's still like, a good price, then you can compete in the market, then it's good. So that's my only concern, that then the PCBs are going to become so expensive if I put them there. It's going to become, they're already kind of expensive, right? So I think, yeah, so economies of scale, obviously it's on our side. So the prices are going to drop, and we're going to drop our prices as we get going, and, we have a full, warehouse full of like stuff. If it's a, if it's a success, I don't know. I don't even know if it's going to be a success. All I know is that there's thousands of them right now. I'm thinking, well, it's got a lot of potential, right? But I could totally be wrong. I could be like, no, it's only the hardcore people that like this system. Like the regular people don't care about this. They don't want to do that. They just, could totally be, that could be the case. And so anyways, yeah, maybe if our economies of scale get to the point where, yeah, we have, the margins are so big that we can afford to, give 30% to Amazon, and then we can like put them there and then everybody can get them. Yeah, imagine that. Like if you can order them on Amazon, that'd be cool. Anything above room temperature at 8 amps for a claimed 200 amp rating is unacceptable. A 200 amp rating is insanity, though. Yeah, that is pretty crazy. Well, what is it? 25C, right? I mean, isn't that insanity? That's fairly common in lithium and lipo, right? In lipo cells, but not on lithium iron phosphate. I mean, lithium iron phosphate, well, yeah. I mean, they're usually 3C rated, right? All our Winston cells, our Cal cells, those were all 3C ratings. So not 25Cs. Yeah, that's kind of a weird battery. Quality 31 120 HPs are good for 50 to 100 amps, not 200. Yeah, and if you guys look at my video, I actually put on the title 100 amps, right? I don't. There was a reason. Like I was like, yeah, these are rated at 200 amps, but I'm like, yeah, the temperature they're running at, and I'm like, I am not comfortable saying that you should run these at 200, right? I was like, I'm gonna be okay saying like these are 100 amp hour cells, 100 amp cells, not 100 amp hour. So I think that's when my title is on the thing, 100 amp. Careful talking about LGHTQ topics can get you demonetized. What? Why? Headweights can 8 amp draw like it's nothing. High capacity test my headweights at 8 amps. They could care less. James Jackson is gone. Battery Mooch, check out UN 38.3 battery tests. All cells are supposed to pass those. Oh, I see. That's what the UN 38.3. UL 1642 tests are even tougher. Wow. So the UN 38.3 are supposed to be done by factories in China, right? So in order to import them? Is that the thing? I already had Tom send me replacements for the poor performance, and the replacements, 3 of the 4 tested only at 6 amp hours. So there's another thing that Tom likes to suggest people do. He likes to say like you should cycle them a few times before you like commit to a thing. And you know what? I was gonna test that because it was the same thing with these cells, right? The ones that just underperform in every test that I threw at him. And like I said, not by much. It's just like, they're too hot. The capacity's a little bit too low. And so I thought, well, this has been sitting on a cold warehouse for 2 years. I should really have put them through like 5 full cycles before I did these tests. But I didn't think about it, right? So I should do that now and see if these recover, right? And I have, I wouldn't be surprised if they do. So I should put those on there and then cycle them and then record the thing, right? I have the first one, right, at half an amp cycle, and then I have a 10 amp cycle. So I should do like 5 more of these half amp cycles and then see if that capacity grows. So that's a good thing because these are like all marked. So I can do 5 cycles and then test them and see if they improve. If they improve, I could probably keep doing it until I see that the thing kind of stabilizes, And then maybe I'd say like, oh yeah, these obviously now they pass the test. They pass. Then I can do maybe like a 10 amp test on these. And if they pass, then that's a true thing, right? Like I haven't experienced that myself. I just always heard that. It's like you have to cycle them a few times before you can, especially on cells that have been sitting there for a long time. So that might be the case with some of these cells that you guys have. It might be that they've been sitting around forever on some, on a Gaylord. And so you just have to cycle them a few times before you can test the capacity. Try that. See if that works. Brushes you see will have motor off for off-road skateboard on Alibaba. Also Backfire Ranger X1 skateboard. Wait, what? Backfire X Ranger? What is that? Let me put that on the thing. I want to check that out. On AliExpress or Alibaba? Because I don't like Alibaba. I like AliExpress, right? Because you can actually buy stuff. On Alibaba, you're like, oh, you got to talk to some factory thing. Email back and forth. And oh, not on AliExpress. Yeah. Well, nothing came up on that one. Oh, by the way, let me do the thing here where I take can I do that? Hi, chat. Come on. Well, whatever. Let's see here. Silicon monocrystalline is 5 times the efficiency of selenium monocrystalline solar cells that used to be sold for hobby purpose. 5 times. Yeah, that's quite a bit. Any good 18650 holders like your wall holder vid? Any good? Oh, man, I don't know. Good holders for e-bikes. Oh, good holders for e-bikes. No, I mean, so they're all e-bike holders, right? But you gotta do the, you gotta spot weld the things. James Claffin says, have you seen my Rage extender trailer build at Rich Rebuilds? Yes, I did watch that video. I think I posted. Wait, did I post it? I might have not posted. It was good, man. You did a good job. It's like smart and stuff. You have like contactors and yeah, that's pretty cool. If you're ever in California, let me know. We'll do a video on that. I want to do. You know what you should do? You should do. So my idea of a trailer was to hang it in my garage, and then hook it up to your house. So now it's like becomes your power wall, right? And like you use it like that all the time, and then whenever you need to like go on a trip, you're going out of town, you're like, okay, let me. Take out the trailer. It's just a trailer that's hanging on the side of the wall there, but it's hooked up. And then that same battery, you just take it with you and then you use it. So you got the trailer done, the part done. Now let's figure out how to do the thing so you can use it at home. Like that's the key right there. Like, I mean, I think, I don't know, it might not. It might work way a lot better in my head than the actual reality. People not want to take their home battery with them. But it's definitely possible, and it wouldn't be that hard. Yeah, I did see it. So 143 cells is $79.99. So 143 out of 250. Or what do you mean? Is that how that works? Chris Polk. Know any good sources for salvage electric motors? I'm thinking of buying a used scooter, a mobility scooter, but would be better to get just the motors from a source that deals in them. No, I don't. So a mobility scooter. Look at my video where I did the thing with those hoverboard motors. Those have a ton of torque. And, if you use 4 of them for your little scooter, yeah, more than enough power to run that, and you can use them with cheap, like, you can use them with cheap, like, speed controllers like these, right? These are e-bike ones. I like to use the ones for the skateboards. They're cheap. They're like $114, but you get, like, 4 speed controllers, so you can have all 4 wheels. And, that's what I use on that build. Yeah, look into that, because that definitely, and it's like, you put it on the low speed setting, and they're like really like smooth. And you can like really control the speed. And that's what like, a wireless controller, if you like put a wire controller, that might be hard though. Because those speed controls are made for, they have the built-in wireless. So that might be, but I mean, it just might be easier. You just don't have to run wires to the bottom. Let's see. Another question. On Alibaba, you can just put out buy request and they send you quotes quick as hell. Oh, really? I never tried it. I was like, oh, you have to send them a thing. And I'm like, where's the buy on button? If I don't have a buy now button, I'm not dealing with it. So I actually never order anything from Alibaba. I always AliExpress. What light do you have in your den? So I have some like video lights here. They're facing actually the opposite direction from me. And so I'm bouncing that light off of the wall, and then that's what's hitting me. So that's why it kind of looks like, hopefully it looks like it's soft, you know, not harsh. But in reality, what I want to do, but they're big, right? And they're big and they're like bulky. So what I want to do is I want to use these guys. I want to build like a smaller one that could just be in that shelf and it's just pointing the wall. And I really want to like use all this, right? So I have this setup here. Woo! By the way, these are like super bright. And they're supposed to be good, you know, good for video. They're kind of expensive, actually. I mean, not expensive, but not super cheap. Now it's just got to build a project to put them there. And I got to find a diffuser. I got to find like some opaque piece of plastic or something that I can put there. And then after that, I just do it. And I got to find the time to do it. I asked Rich how he knows how to put the cars back together, and he does it all based on memory. Yeah, I don't think Teslas are that hard. I mean, look, not to take anything from what Rich is doing. He's a pioneer. But electric cars are actually quite easy. Like, I build a few of them, right? Yes, they're third party. They're like, but they're not that hard. There's nothing to them. There's like, oh, here are the two wires that go for the, you know, DC to DC. Oh, here are the 3-phase wires. Oh, here are the 2 wires that go from the battery to the, you know, contactor. And all the hard stuff is already in those boxes anyway. So, probably the low voltage systems are a lot more complex on that car, right? Because they have all those sensors, they have the computer, we have all the systems. But when it comes to the actual like propulsion system, it's like there's nothing to it. Everything's in that ball inverter. The cables run straight to the motor, like they don't even come out. So there's like, it's all worked out there. Probably the Teslas are about the easiest cars that are to work out there. So, you know. So I'm actually thinking about hacking the mobility scooter motors to build a 2-wheeled garden tractor. Oh, there you go. Beware of fake sales for $1 when they should be for $3. Yep, definitely. Like battery godlike. Yeah, it was hard. I was like, how do I light this room? It's so it's blue, right? Like my wife painted blue, and I was like, sucks. It's like too dark. There was one tiny little light over here at the beginning, and then I did these like cheap like lights up here, and they're like terrible for video. They're like just the wrong kind of, and then 2 of them died and they were flickering, so it was like I had to get some decent lights. Do you have an idea about aluminum air battery? Nope, I don't know anything about. The dog is bored. Yes, that dog is bored. They're all bored, poor guys. They were unlucky. They should have gotten a better owner. Hardest build is cleanliness and cost of batteries. What? I don't get that. What do you guys mean? Okay, so let's see. I'm still out, right? There we go. Yeah, we're still good. We're still live. The questions have stopped. I think I'm going too slow, right? This is quickly becoming my most expensive hobby. Well, yes. Yes, it can be really expensive, unfortunately. Um, yeah, it can become, but not well. Yeah, it can become expensive, but it's. I think it's the right thing to do. Like, I think it's gonna pay off, in the long run. So I wouldn't worry too much. I don't think. I mean, yeah, don't go crazy. Don't go crazy. But it's a thing that pays off. Like, just think about this. If you have a battery that helps you use some of the energy, right? Like, if you capture it, like whatever you're doing, whatever scheme you're doing, if you're buying energy when it's cheap and then you're using it when it's more expensive, then that's saving you money. If you're producing energy by solar and then you're using it, though, that's saving you money. That's otherwise energy that you would have to use and pay for it, right? And that's been happening forever. And no matter, as long as you're here, alive, doing stuff, that's just money out of your pocket. So if you can minimize that now, and it goes down years and years, then, that you're going to be better off. Eventually, it's going to return. Your investment is going to return, and then you'll be in the positive. And you don't have to do anything. You just have to be like, it just happened. It's just doing this thing. Can I use power tool batteries? Makita, Milwaukee for Powerwall without open the batteries? The batteries have 18 volts, 5 amp hours, and have inside a BMS. How can I use these BMSs in system? 18 volts plus 18 volts. Thank you. Yes, you should. I mean, if you have a ton of them. By the way, speaking of batteries, my camera battery's about to die. Let me grab another one over here. I'll put a little thing here. Break. Alrighty. Here we go. Look at it go. Vieron. I don't know. Oh my god. Yes, all right, I'm back. So the question is, can you use a bunch of those Makitas? Yes, you can. If you have access to a bunch of them, use them. Just keep in mind that those are I think they have a limited amount of cycles. And, well, I mean, I don't know. I used to think that. I don't know. Now I'm I don't know. You're always torturing those batteries, right? Like in my Makita, I mean, you're always putting a ton of power through them, right? So I don't know if and they always die instantly. They're just oh, that's it. It won't take that charge anymore, right? And so it's a BMS, but you don't know if it's because a battery just you reversed it. And now it doesn't want to charge because it doesn't want to charge again. Or it's just that it reached this cycle number and you're yeah, it's too dangerous, so might as well just deactivate the battery. So I always just think there's a short amount of cycles they put on that BMS so that it doesn't become so, dangerous. So you have to keep that in mind if you're going to use it. I know you're probably not going to be pushing those batteries that hard, right? They might just not last that long, But yeah, if you have a bunch of them, you just figure out how to make a base for them. And then stick them on there. You know, whenever they go bad, you just take it off and put another one in there. It probably won't be like the most like dense battery because it would probably take a bunch of space or whatever. But yeah, there's 3D printing technology now. You can just make like a, you know, like a, you can make a thing where like you can put the battery on there and put the contacts and all stuff. Use your imagination. I haven't seen the money return yet. That's crazy. How can I fix my lithium-ion battery, e-bike battery? Well, you take it apart. You start checking the voltages on all the battery groups, and you start making notes. And then you get. I suggest you probably get an RC charger, one that can charge. Depending on what voltage your battery is. Yeah, you might have to do all the, you might have to do like in 2 different sections, right? But you should like charge the, like bypass the BMS and see if it like takes charge, or try doing it with the BMS first. And if it doesn't, you know, if the BMS is open circuit, you know, which means like there's no current that goes through it, then it's your BMS, but then you have to realize why the BMS, or figure out why the BMS is not working. So yeah, there's a process. You can eliminate a lot of things, right? It's one group of batteries that is dead, and that's why the BMS is off. Or is it even the BMS? It might be something else. So yeah, take it apart. Start playing with it. Just don't hurt yourself. Don't burn your house. Don't short it out and melt all the cables, you know? Just be smart about it. You have to try and do the stream 3 hours earlier. All the East Coast peeps are sleeping. Yes, that's true. I gotta do it. I got 6,000 color lights. They pierce my skin and show my blood vessels and make me look like a zombie when I post my videos. I have to put pieces of paper over them to darken them. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's... I don't have that problem. I'm dark. So, yeah. I got, what are these, 56K? Yeah, I have them all the way to 56K. Wait. Yeah, that's as high as these ones will go. And then here we go. I'm just turning them yellow. Whoop, whoop. I don't know. Look at that. Does that look better? 47? Let me see. Ooh. There we go. Does that look better, or does that look yellow? Do I look yellow? I don't know. Whatever. Actually, it looks brighter. Thinking about an EV build with a forklift motor, will it be a problem? Is the voltage too low if it's 48 volts? You can overvolt those motors pretty good, but it's like a high maintenance motor. Like it's got those brushes, and those brushes are like those levels of power. They're like, oh, they just don't last very long. So you'll have to always be changing those brushes. Right? And especially since you're overvolting it and you're overpowering it, so then they run hotter than they were designed for, and so then yeah, there's all the sparking, all the dust, you know, then you get like phantom like voltages on the frame because of all the dust. That's conductive dust of the brush material. It sounds cool. You get a ton of power, don't get me wrong. You can spin tires, you can go drag racing with them and stuff. They're cheap, right? Nobody wants them. There's a bunch of them. But it's a ton of like, it's definitely not for a daily driver. It's not a good thing. I mean, unless you totally just love just working on your car all the time, which a lot of people do, you know. But if you're not that kind, you're like, yeah, don't go DC. Just get an AC motor. Let's see. I have spent at least $5 on parts and batteries and have no projects done so far. I have spent at least $5. Wait, $5,000? Richard Adams, you have spent at least $5,000 on parts and batteries and have no projects done so far. Well, sound like me. Why start one project when you can start another one? I mean, why finish one when you can start another one? Let's see, 1:16 a.m. Too late. Yeah, I know, guys. Sorry for that. I should be in Australia, so that well, I mean, nah. Well, people in Australia are watching me right now, right? It's like they're getting up. Let's see here. That short video clips is scary, melted and red hot. Well, it was kind of scary actually. There was like hot metal, like just. It looked like a. Yeah, it looked like a volcano, and I was like, "Stay back!" My dad was like getting closer. I was like, "Stay back! It's molten metal. Like, it's gonna burn your skin. You're gonna like." He was like, "Oh, but let me look at it." And my dad's like 80 years old, right? So it's like, get out of here, old man. Vauco YouTube channel does cool stuff with power tool batteries. Love his intermittent jokes too. Oh, you know what? That sounds familiar. And I've probably seen some of his videos, but I can't remember what it is. Also, I want those headway cells for my car. Can I run them with under the hood and trunk? So I've heard from people that run them under the hood on just regular, cars, and I guess they don't like the heat, so they kind of explode. So keep that in mind. Like if you put them under your hood, like, use like a box with like insulation so that you can keep the engine heat out of those batteries. Because the engine runs super hot, right? And so you don't want to put all that heat on those batteries. Just opened my first laptop Dell battery today. Oh, there you go. It's long. You got a long road ahead. Good morning from Greece, says Thanos. Are those peanut M&Ms? I just saw the GMO label they put on the candy. What they think about GMOs in Cali? What? Where's the GMO? They have GMOs? God damn people putting GMOs. Oh, the dogs. No chocolate for you guys. You guys can't eat chocolate. Yeah, I guess I like GMOs. Tastes pretty good. Is this still live? There's 179 of you watching. Car audio competitors use those headways battery systems to run high wattage amplifiers. Yep. More color. There you go. More color. I am not dark enough to be considered white. Wait. I am not dark enough? What do you mean? What? I don't get it. Your charging station, Opus or Light-O-Cala. So I have Light-O-Cala and I have, what's the other one? The other one's another brand, Sandflare. And I have those at kit.com/J, who I have all the chargers that I currently own, and even the ones that I've killed. So I have them there. You can go see it. Also use A123's 26650s for stereo competition. Yeah, those things are pretty scary. Those are monster batteries. 3:25 p.m. here in Queensland, right? What's QLD? Yeah, what is that? That's Australia, right? But I guess that's the state or the province or something. You're still streaming. I'm here waiting for you to finish so I can watch it from the beginning. The questions keep coming. I usually go to sleep when the questions stop. I have some LG CS31650 lithium-ion cells. They work fine, but cannot find a good data sheet for it. Don't know how much current I can draw without killing it. Is there some method of figuring that out? Yeah, watch my latest videos. Like 2-3 videos ago, I totally run through testing to try to figure that out for a battery that we had that had no data sheet. And then towards the end of that video, I got the data sheet, and I'm like, it's that on. Actually, the data sheet is kind of conservative. Basically load test the cells and then watch the temperature, and then like around 70, 80 degrees Celsius, whatever power level you got, you can do continuously, and it gets to that power, that temperature, then that's probably about what your power level is going to be. It's all related to temperature, right? It's like, and then if it goes too high, anything above and goes to 100 degrees, it's like that's too hot. You're probably going to run into issues with the CID popping, the vent, venting. You just don't want to run cells hot because they're not going to last you very, very long. So yeah, just do that test, run it, and then see. Also, it's weird. Like they shouldn't change too much in capacity. Like if you have like a 3,000 milliamp hour cell and then you load it to 8 amps, right, and it stays around 80 degrees, but then like the capacity just drops to like nothing. Yeah, you're probably, that cell is like, it's able to push that much power, but like if you're getting like, half of the capacity, then yeah, that's probably not going to be a good idea, right? It's probably not smart enough to run that cell. You probably want to look for another cell that can push out a lot of the energy without, wasting so much of it. You're usually probably not going to have that much too often because that energy has to go somewhere, and it usually is going to go into heat. So you can't have a bunch of energy missing without heat, but it could happen, I know these ones kind of sag early on, which is kind of a weird thing. Battery Mooch is going to notice that, like when he starts loading them up, like 1-2 amps, and the capacity just drops drastically, but then it stays there. Like then you can load it up to like 10 amps, and like it doesn't change much. It's just like a little bit every time that you add another 2 amp load into it. So that's kind of strange because a lot of these other ones, like the name brand ones, don't behave that way, right? So there's definitely something different about them. And it would be interesting to see what that is. They behave slightly different. What is the appropriate master course for electric vehicle specialization? I don't know. I know a lot of places, academic places, are barely getting around to making curriculums. I know like there's a local high school that wanted me to advise them into how to make curriculum for people to do renewable energies, right? Because they don't seem like there's no one else doing it, and it's just not happening. So yeah, I was kind of reluctant to sign up to that because I'm just terrible at doing that stuff, right? Like it requires me to like write up proposals and do the thing and write up like lists of things and like repeatable. It's just the wrong thing that I'm not good at that. I could probably sit down with you and come up with systems, but to actually like format it in a way that they usually they want it and stuff. I'm just not trained in that. I never went to school. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. Like, right, I'm operating like a 6th grade level here. You know what I mean? Like I went to junior high, but I didn't pay attention. And then I went to high school, but I was only there 2 years, and I was just looking out the door waiting to get out. You know what I mean? Like most of the periods. I did enjoy a couple periods, like U.S. history I enjoyed quite a bit. English I enjoyed, not because of the technical, not because of the grammatical, lessons. It was mostly because we were starting to read books, and I liked the stories. So as a result of that, I'm terrible. My grammar's terrible. I don't know how to spell. I don't, it's like I don't know structure of the language I just don't know any of that stuff. But I'd really love that class because we were starting to read stories and stuff. And other than that, yeah, that's it. I didn't like any. I mean, science. I always liked science. But in high school, science was not great. I don't know what happened. I think my high school just lacked good science program. And so it never kept me. So as a result of that, I dropped out, like in my junior year. So I don't know. where you would go and what you would look at. Um, it just depends. I think most of it is, I mean, it's computer science, right? It's like coding, it's computer hacking, computer, yeah, it's computer language, it's all that stuff. It's all computers now. There's quite a bit of mechanical stuff, but that's not where the cutting edge is at. I don't think. I mean, there's some of that going on there, but what do you think about Arizona Prop 127? I don't know. Requiring power plants to get 50% of energy to come from renewable resources by 2030. Okay, so let's look at that. Let's see. Is that a good idea? What do you think about Arizona Prop? Requiring power plants to get 50% of energy to come from renewable sources. I mean, yeah, it seems like a good thing, right? It seems like a good thing because why wouldn't it? More of the energy should come from renewables, but I think execution gets messy, right? Like this problem that we have here in California, there's too much renewable energy. Like you're like, what do you mean this? How is that possible? But as it turns out, there's an infrastructure of plants, and they have long-term contracts with them, right? The energy, the utilities. And so as a result of that, they have all these renewable plants, right? There's a ton of solar here in California, like not just rooftop solar distributed through all the things, but there are like arrays, like, solar arrays that are owned by, like either by private companies or by the utilities. What ends up happening is that because it's more costly to shut down a traditional plant there's going to be standby to to meet the the peaks or whatever of the energy consumption, they end up shutting down the renewable energy plants, right? Because those are like a flip of switch and you're done. Like there's nothing complicated about it. Where like a traditional power plant is like, oh no, you gotta like turn off the thing, and like there's much more complicated, and also they're paying for it and they're locked up in contracts. So as a result of that, most of the energy that's being wasted here in California, it's renewable energy, right? And it's creating a bunch of problems. We have too much of it. We have to like pay other neighboring states to take all that energy that it's during the day, during the summer. There's too much energy, right? And you can't have too much energy in the grid. Like you have to send it somewhere. Like if it's there, it's being produced, you got to send it somewhere. So it's actually costing us money. And so it's a huge mistake to, force people to like to all construction to have like solar panels. Like, no, that's the wrong thing to be mandating. You got to mandate batteries, because batteries, then you can store that energy and you have somewhere to put that energy. Instead of shipping it out to other states and paying for that, you should be storing it. Like all that money that we're spending paying other states to take our energy, like that should be used in programs to promote storage systems, batteries. And so even though it's a good thing, it might seem a good thing at first hand, it's like it's not. It could be a ton of problems underneath, right? So depending, like, just what's going on. So I don't know. Hopefully it's a good thing. Hopefully it doesn't cause too many problems for you guys. And so yeah. Shannon Williams says, drop out in my junior and got a GED. Hated school, wasn't for me. Yeah. GEDs, I guess they were available for me, but I just never saw the value. Like, to tell you the truth, right? Like, unfortunately, even though I like learning, I just, like, academia never offered me anything. And so I never put value in that, right? It's like, it was a world against me, and I was illegal, and so I thought, like, screw it, I don't want to be what society wants me to be. I'm gonna be whoever so I'm a kind of a rebel, right? Because society has, I don't know, never saw eye to eye. Now that I'm older, I'm like, yeah. Those are I thought one grad level electrical engineering courses, programmable logic controllers, and took alternative energy courses. Looking to industrial education for coursework. There we go. I hated diagramming sentences. English literature was more interesting. Yeah, storytelling is more interesting. I wish I knew more, because then I could probably write. Like, I probably could write something, but technically I can't write something, right? So I would have to probably use like whatever. Like, what's that person called that you dictate? Good thing until you start seeing your energy costs going up and up and up. Meet the requirements. Every high school lacks in everything. All they want to do is indoctrinate and create lemmings and worker bees. There's no creativity in classes on everyday skills for a reason. Yeah, there's quite a bit of that going on, I think. By the way, my internet dropped out. 55% of my headways are above 8 amp hour. So slightly more than half are above 8 amp hour. Highest is 89.37. 85% of my cells are above 72. Wow, okay, so 72 milliamp hours or 90%. Oh, I see. So 55% are 100%. Right? So they're like at 100% health. But 85% are at 90% health state. Okay, well, those numbers are big, are good. Yeah, I mean, like, if you say most of them are new or better. I mean, I would be, I'd say that would be an accurate statement, right? Because the numbers meet that, at least in your experience with 250 cells. So as far as I know, yeah, you might actually be the one that has the most data on those cells. So there you go. Hopefully that helps. Helps the other guy that was asking about that. But his batch is a lot smaller. I think he only had like 8 cells or something. All these solar and wind farms go dead, but just about as fast as the supplemented funding dries up. They just get left to rot. Yeah, there's a lot of that too. There's a lot of people that see like, there's money. There's money in the government, coming from the government. We can do something. We can just, pocket that money and then walk away. Yeah, there's quite a bit of that. Is there a way to build up the traces in your PCBs with copper and solder so they can handle more amps? Yes. Well, hey, whoa. I'll help you. Yeah, that's my, can't let him jump up there because he's got bad legs, so all we need is for him to tear his ACL too, and actually he has a torn one, so to rip it more. Yeah, you could totally do it, but you don't need to. They can put out, I just did the test the other day, they can do about 400 watts, which is what? At 24 volts, it's about 16 amps. So they could probably do about 20 amps. In fact, the PCBs have that stated on there. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Let's look at what our writing is here. I need to put more stuff in here, like, okay, so it's basically, he put 4 amp fuse max with cell holders, right? Which is good, yeah. Or 15 amp fuse max with direct solder onto the board here. because that's the traces are actually quite, you know, wide, and so they could totally handle, big modules, 20 modules, brass, and then these other ones are over here. I thought he had one where he like was saying how much they could, but yeah, I mean yeah, these could probably do like, and I have some earlier tests. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I did find out where they used to get hot, and I think it was up there, like 20 amps or something like that. So I don't think it's needed. Like there's no cells, there's no 1860 unless you're running. I guess unless you're running two cells, right, on the top and the bottom. So you run a two. So that, and if you're running like a R25R or a 30Q or something, I guess you could run like try to squeeze out 40 amps out of it. But then the holder is the bottleneck. It's not the board. It's the holder. So you'd have to like solder it straight into the batteries. Yeah, I mean I think at 20 amps, that's pretty good. If you want more than that, yeah, I mean I don't know what to tell you. Like, what are you powering? What do you need? Like, not on 18650s. Why do you want more than 20 amps of it? 18650. DT Microphone says, I dropped out of college. How is Cali doing with water? Oh, I think it's terrible. I think everybody's fighting for water, literally. Like, I saw a story the other day that California, San Diego counties, they're bidding on black water rights. Like they're betting, so they're fighting. There's bidding wars on our crap because they want that water, because they want to treat it and so they can use it. Like that's how bad it is here, and they're like paying off a bunch of like farmers out here in the Antelope Valley. So they're basically paying for their water rights, because those guys have like this lands for agriculture, but they have X amount of gallons a year for like water rights, right? And their grandfather for a long time, 100 years ago, whatever. So they're paying those farmers they're buying their water rights, and so then they're taking that water and they're taking it over there in San Diego. So as a result of that, like there are abandoned lands in the Antelope Valley that there's no crops growing anymore because there's no water. Like, and the value of those properties are dropping, because without water rights, then what do you need that land for? It's agricultural land. Without water, it's useless, right? So it's crazy, very, very crazy what's going on with the water. Best car replacement battery. Ooh, who knows? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know anything about those batteries. How many 18650s do I need to run my air conditioner? Well, that's actually, let's see, if you have a unit like mine that is about 40 amps or about 5,000 watts, you need about 5 kilowatt hours, which is about 500 cells, or about a box about that big right there. That's almost 500 cells right there. And that box right there will run your AC for exactly about an hour. So if you need to run your AC for 24 hours, nonstop, continuously, then you need about 24 of those boxes, or 24 times 500 cells. So it's quite a bit of cells. But obviously ACs don't actually run, continuously. They just run like on and off, right? 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off, 10 minutes on. That's during like the day, right, when it's the hottest, and then they taper off later. Like, so my AC unit during the summer was using about 30 kilowatt hours per day. Right, it's quite a bit, right? So 30. Yeah, so what do we said? 30 kilowatt hours. So you need a 30. I mean, but then I don't know. How are you charging that battery? If you're using solar to charge it, then you have to deduct that from the main battery, So yeah, I don't know. Short answer is you need a lot. Costs more than buying a Tesla battery. Yeah, right now it does cost more than buying a battery. I'm hoping that those prices are going to go down once we start buying in large quantities, right? Why can't you make that test? 2600 light alkali that you own fake ones. Some have PCB and are cheaper. I don't know what that means. Jay, if I have too much solar, if we have too much solar, why is super off peak still 8 p.m. to 8 a.m.? I don't know. I've asked myself, I'm like, if we have too much solar, why is it so expensive during the day, you know? And I think it's not because there's a lack of energy. I think it's because it's a surplus of energy. So we're paying to export all that extra. Like, we're getting charged, well, I guess if you're producing, you're putting back into the grid, you're not paying for that, right? But everyone else is paying because you're the problem that you're causing with your solar. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense because, during the 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., then all that energy has to come off out of local power plants, right? And so, yeah, they have to make their money, I guess, or something. So, they didn't store the energy. That's the reason is because they didn't store energy, so they have to generate it. Do you have a video on crimping ribbon cables adapters? Not yet. No, I don't. I have to first figure out how to do it right, and then I can make a video, because San Diego has a seawater treatment plant that makes fresh water from it. And yet they're still bidding on crap water. How does that make sense? Oh, they need more. It's just growing. San Diego County is growing really quickly. I guess one of the fastest growing counties. Yeah. I want a national water grid. All right, Filma gave another member, by the way. Thank you for supporting the channel. Film gave? Is that how you pronounce that? How many amps are your new boards rated at? I'm trying to get a bank good enough for a max load of 15 kiloamps. What is the same size as my transformer? That is the same size as my transformer. So they're rated at 100 watts continuous, but they can run, slightly higher, but really the bottleneck is the holder. If you use the other type of holder, which is more expensive, the SMD one, right, the surface mount one, then you can run the boards at 200 watts. And if you run a double side, then you can run them at 400 watts. So yeah, that's, so you'd probably need, I don't know how to convert the kiloamps into kilowatts. Maybe someone can help us there with that, right? But so they're basically 1C. That's what so you probably, if that's, let's say that was 15 kilowatts, then you would need about 15 kilowatt hour battery pack to run that, to run that at maximum, I think. I think that's how that works. 20,000. Island Times has a 20,000 liter rainwater tank next to my house, and it's full. What? That's crazy. 20,000. What is that? Isn't that like swimming pool size? That's a huge one, right? Why no nickel metal hydrate hybrid batteries? Because they're old and they're usually small, and those are always beat up and they're super degraded. hybrid batteries get, yeah, they get beat up too bad, and by the time they're off of the car, they're just trash. They're like, and they're tiny batteries, right? You're talking about 1 3 kilowatt hour batteries, and they run really hard, so so it's just too much work for not a lot of payoff. So that's why we like full size, like electric car batteries or these 18650s. They're better. I want to build a 13S pack and then parallel those similar to your hoverboard wall. Do you plan on making PCBs with per cell balancing similar to Supercap boards? What does that mean? Making PCBs with per cell balancing similar. So my boards are, you can balance each cell. And then when you connect it to the next board, then yeah, you're balancing 7 groups. Like each cell is balanced. Each cell is balanced independently, right? Except it just depends how many boards you have. Again, I gotta come up with that video. It's just it's not coming out fast enough. Once you see the diagram, you're totally gonna get it. You're like, oh, okay. So then all these boards, they become 7 groups of batteries. They're all electrically connected together. So when you balance group number 1, cell number 1 from all the boards gets changed, right? Let's say that, all of these cells are different, state of charge, and then you build your boards, and then they all end up, they're all going to balance with each other. Like cell number 1 is going to transfer energy if it's higher voltage than cell number 1 on the second board, and then all the way down, right? So let's say that you end up with one group that is, higher than all the other ones. Or let's say, you're all at 4.2, like fully charged, but one group is like, 4.1. So you have to adjust that one, right, and charge it a little bit more. So yeah, you basically, use the, you'll use the balancing ribbon here, and then you apply current and charging only on the group 1, and so all the cells 1 on all the boards will get charged on that. So right, so this is 7 cells, 7 groups of cells. Doesn't matter how many you go up, it's still the same, electrically is the same. So yeah, each cell is independently balanced. It's just that there's only 7 cells. What you don't realize is it's only 7 groups of cells. Let's see here. Ooh, 10:58. Okay, 2 more minutes and then we'll call it quits. What do you think about using 1/2 ounce copper for your PCB board and maybe get your cost down to almost half? I think your testing equipment should determine if it's reasonable. I don't know. Is that possible? I think we're getting the. What are we getting? Are we using? What did I get last time? So as I think we're getting the. I haven't seen like a thinner copper setting on the thing, but maybe you have to like ask for it or something. I know in JLC PCB is like 1 ounce and then 2 ounce copper, right? So how would you use the 1/2 ounce copper? That would be interesting, because I don't think we need 20 amps off of these boards if everything else is rated at 4, right? So if we can save a ton of money by using thinner copper traces for it, why shouldn't we, right? Let's see. Have you averaged how many kilowatt hours you use in a day. I'm trying to figure out how much between Rancho Cucamonga and LA. Yeah, so I'll use about 30 something. 30, Actually, you know what? During the summer, I was like close to 60 kilowatt hours. Because that AC unit was just on all day. It's hot here in Rancho. So definitely, yeah. But half of that was coming, well, most of that was coming from the AC. So yeah, if you're down there, it's probably going to be about the same. So Shannon Williams says 1 ounce to half ounce shouldn't be all that cheaper, but every cent's matter. Yeah, and especially if we don't need it, right? Like I know a lot of people are asking like for boards that have higher, power output, but what are you gonna use? Like what kind of cell are you gonna use that you're gonna? Most of us are using like these cells that are like 1C or 2C, 3C. Like they can handle that. Why would you want to spend more money? Like I don't understand what you guys are trying to use these boards for, right? Like I understand. I have a vision what these boards are going to be, and they fit, other than the price right now. They're expensive, right? But it's really early. I think as more people jump in there and build them, it's going to become easier for us to like lower the price because we're going to be buying more and more of these, components, so they'll be cheaper, whatever. And so they'll become where they serve a purpose and they use them. So I just have to understand. And I am working on a little one, like a little pack or whatever that you put 10 boards on there and stuff. It'll be part of the video and stuff. All right, guys, it's 11 o'clock. It's probably way later than you. Talking to myself is arguing with me. I have no idea what he's talking about. Why you pretend you said you don't understand? I don't understand what you're talking about, dude. Try to explain better next time and I'll answer your question. All right, we'll see you guys in the next time. Stay tuned. If everything goes good tomorrow, I will have some of the most affordable brand new batteries that I'll be able to get my hands on. And we're just going to blow them out. Like, we could sell these higher price, but I don't want to. I just want to, like, get rid of them. Like, right? Find people to, like, use them and stuff. I know, yeah. And they're good cells. They're, like, cells that can be used for anything. And I think I'll do a little quick video how to put them together using the board too, so you'll be able to use the board without holders. More work, but I think for the price that you're getting them, I think they'll be worth it. Yeah, so definitely if you're looking for like good batteries, new batteries for cheap prices, then tomorrow I have a quick thing. So definitely. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, but tomorrow if I make a video about those batteries. Other than that, what else? I'm gonna be gone for the rest of the week. I'm gonna go to SEMA. So if any of you guys watching this, 153 of you are going to be in SEMA, hit me up. Send me put a comment on this video here. I'll get all these comments and I read them. If you're down there, we'll hang out, we'll meet or whatever. We'll have a beer together or something, talk about batteries and stuff. I'm going with the EV West guys. So I don't know if they're taking any cars. I don't know, but hopefully they're taking some cars. And it would be cool. I mean, there's going to be a ton. This is going to be my first time, so I don't really know what it is like there on that show. But definitely, yeah. If any of you are there, let me know. All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll see you guys in the next one, whenever that is. Good night, and thank you for all your support. All right. Alrighty. Alrighty, here we go. Look at it go. Vieron. I don't know. Oh my god! Oh, I see. Yes, it's good. So how much does this Powerwall cost? Let's do a rundown on the prices of all the components. First, we have the solar charge controller available for $38.99, the bidirectional meter at $29.99, non-interruptible power supply available for $30. The battery modules are $50 each. There's 10 of them, so it's $500 in total. The 32-inch metal box is $59.22. A fuse holder is $682. The battery management system, the long ones are $14 each, and the main unit is like $200, so it comes down to a total of $342. All of these components come to a grand total of $1,008 US. You can find the links for all these parts on the description of this video. I want to thank you for watching. Stay tuned for future videos, all having to do with DIY renewable energy. Today I'm going to show you how to build this electric skateboard. As you know, electric skateboards are a thing now. They've been a thing for a while. There's the expensive ones, there's the cheap ones, and everything in between. But there's a new breed of electric skateboards. They're off-road, and you got a glimpse of one of them last time I was in New York, and I got to meet Vitaly, which runs the Portable Electric Vehicles channel on YouTube. He built himself this beast of an electric skateboard that supposedly does about 55 miles per hour, which is just insane. So I thought I would show you how I would build one on the cheap, using off-the-shelf parts to keep the build simple. So let's get started. Let's talk about the EV West M3.
I'm Michael Breen with EV West, and 7 years ago we started our little electric car speed shop so we could help people make classic cars go faster. At the time we were looking around for venues, and there wasn't a lot available to electric cars, and we came across Pikes Peak, and they actually had a class. And we ended up building the car, purpose-built for Pikes Peak. We ran the race in 2012. We ended up setting a record for the fastest street-legal electric car to go up the hill.
Now, the car that Michael is talking about is the famous M3.
342 horsepower and 850.4 pound-feet of torque.
A few years later, I saw it.
We almost lost our wheel right here.
Some 100 kilometers south of the border, there exists a place. This is what's known as La Bufadora. It's a place where the water comes out. It's a blowhole. And let's sit around and watch the water come out here. I think I'm gonna get wet. What was La Bufadora all that it's cracked up to be? Or
Yes.
were you impressed?
I was splashed. Watch your step. Big splash.
Yeah, I was like 7 years old last time.
Look at I'm allergic to birds.
This is a test of a Lido-Color branded LGHG2 cell. According to the spec sheet, this cell can do a maximum of 20 amp continuous and shouldn't go above 75 degrees Celsius in temperature. And just like that, with that little crack, the cell is damaged beyond repair. At 15 amp load, the cell reached a maximum temperature of 100 degrees Celsius, at which point the CID was triggered and now the battery is open circuit. So that's how you kill a fake LGHG2 branded Lido-Color cells. Let's make a power roll.
Positive, positive.
Well, they're not super even, but they're okay. Whoa, they are kind of all over the place. And just like that, we assembled a 1 kilowatt hour battery pack, 24 volts, ready to be used. Back to Puerto Rico for the third time. We're gonna help some people get some power. Internal resistance and okay, so here's a whole pallet of these modem ones. Look at these guys. It's 11,000 cells right there, ready to be deployed in Puerto Rico. You got your cells?
I got myself.
All right. You got your cells?
Yeah, I got myself.
All right. So you want to build a DIY power wall. I'll show you how to do one. Using these as batteries and these as your inverter, you can build a small DIY power wall. Let's get going. Alrighty. Come on. Alrighty, here we go. Look at it go! Vieron. I don't know. Oh my god! Oh, I see. Yeah, it's good. So how much does this power wall cost? Let's do a rundown on the prices of all the components. First, we have the solar charge controller available for $38.99, the bidirectional meter at $29.99, non-interruptible power supply available for $30. The battery modules are $50 each. There's 10 of them, so it's $500 in total. The 32-inch metal box is $59.22. A fuse holder is $682. The battery management system, the long ones are $14 each, and the main unit is like $200, so it comes down to a total of $342. All of these components come to a grand total of $1,008 US. You can find the links for all these parts on the description of this video. I want to thank you for watching. Stay tuned for future videos all having to do with DIY renewable energy. Today I'm going to show you how to build this electric skateboard. As you know, electric skateboards are a thing now. They've been a thing for a while. There's the expensive ones, there's the cheap ones, and everything in between. But there's a new breed of electric skateboards. They're off-road, and you got a glimpse of one of them last time I was in New York, and I got to meet Vitaly, which runs the Portable Electric Vehicles channel on YouTube. He built himself this beast of an electric skateboard that supposedly does about 55 miles per hour, which is just insane. So I thought I would show you how I would build one on the cheap, using off-the-shelf parts to keep the build simple. So let's get started. Let's talk about the EV West M3.
I'm Michael Breen with EV West, and 7 years ago we started our little electric car speed shop so we could help people make classic cars go faster. At the time we were looking around for venues, and there wasn't a lot available to electric cars, and we came across Pikes Peak, and they actually had a class. And we ended up building the car, purpose-built for Pikes Peak. We ran the race in 2012. We ended up setting a record for the fastest street-legal electric car to go up the hill.
Now the car that Michael is talking about is the famous M3.
342 horsepower and 850.4 pound-feet of torque.
A few years later, I saw it.
We almost lost our wheel right here.
Some 100 kilometers south of the border, there exists a place. This is what's known as La Bufadora. It's a place where the water comes out. It's a blowhole. And let's sit around and watch the water come out here. I think I'm gonna get wet. Was La Bufadora all that is cracked up to beer?
Yes.
Were you impressed?
I was splashed. Watch your step. Big splash.
Yeah, I was like 7 years old last time.
I'm allergic to bats.
This is a test of a Lidocala branded LGHG2 cell. According to the spec sheet, this cell can do a maximum of 20 amp continuous and shouldn't go above 75 degrees Celsius in temperature. And just like that, with that little crack, the cell is damaged beyond repair. At 15 amp load, the cell reached a maximum temperature of 100 degrees Celsius, at which point the CID was triggered, and now the battery is open circuit. So that's how you kill a fake LGHG2 branded Lidocala cells. Let's make a power roll.
Positive, positive.
Well, they're not super even, but they're okay. Whoa, they are kind of all over the place. And just like that, we assembled a 1 kilowatt hour battery pack, 24 volts, ready to be used.